If you are watching this video, you are either a parent or a student who wants to choose between computer science or IT for the A-level exams. It's very important that you make the right choice, because either you will enjoy the A-level really well, or you're going to find that it's one of the biggest mistakes you made in choosing either of these subjects. Now, let's first look at, as an international student, what choices you have. Generally, most of the time, you will find that either you can choose between Cambridge examinations or Edexcel. They're both British exams, as you know this. Now, as for Cambridge exams, you have two subjects that you can offer for the A-level. One is computer science, and the other is information technology. As for the Edexcel exams, you can choose only information technology. There is no computer science. It is the same subject that was called applied ICT in the past. In computer science, about half of the syllabus deals with going into details of concepts. You learn about hardware, software, architecture. So, for example, many people know about binary numbers. In the theory of architecture, you would learn about how these numbers are actually stored within the computer using logic circuits. The remaining half of the syllabus is based on programming. But you don't always write programs. There are other things that are related to it, like flowcharts and writing algorithms and creating and working with data structures and things like this. As for information technology, you will find that you seem to have more topics, but the concepts that you cover are not at the level that you would do in computer science. As for information technology, you don't really go into the depth of the subject, but the practical side of it includes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then there is systems development, where you have to talk about the steps that are involved in building a computer system. You don't really carry them out in detail. And then, of course, you have working with databases. This includes working with the software like Microsoft Access, and also, to some extent, you will be working with SQL. Now, what makes IT different to computer science to a greater extent is how you get tested. There is a lot to do with discussions, explanations. For example, the use of something, the benefits and drawbacks and the impact and so on and so forth. Now, these are things that you don't talk about in detail when you do computer science. Now, this is a big question. Many students find it very difficult to handle this. That is, which is better? Well, the first point we need to know is that it depends on what you really want to do next. So if you are planning on doing something in engineering, now when I say engineering, it's a very general thing, very, very broad area. So more specifically, if you have an idea of doing electronics or mechatronics, electrical engineering, or anything that is directly in computing, like computer science or software engineering, then you see that the computer science syllabus is more towards the engineering side. In other words, doing computer science would give you a better foundation that would help you to get into those areas of study. On the other hand, if you are looking at business studies like accounting, management, and so on, then information technology has more relevance in terms of what you have, in terms of what you will be covering at A-levels. So it prepares you better when you want to go into higher studies in this area. Also, it depends on your interest. That is, for example, if you are doing computer science, you would learn a lot of technical stuff. You will generally be able to stick to a textbook. For example, when you take computer science, you have to go into some level of detail in both theory and practice. So If you are a person who enjoys doing that, yes, then computer science is for you. Most of the time, you will find that the course book available can be used as a single reference, and you don't need to do too much of reading out of that book. It basically covers most of the things that you would need to know for the syllabus. And then, of course, you have the programming part. You have quite a lot of programming and working with data structures. So if these are things that you like to do, then computer science is the better thing for you. On the other hand, if you are maybe a business student, or you are looking at something less technical, then IT seems like the better choice, because it's less technical, but you have to be willing to put more time in, because you have to do a lot of reading, a lot of cross-referencing, because most of the time, as an international student, you may not be fully aware of the things that you have to do as part of the syllabus. For example, there are so many case studies that you would have to do, so much of time spent doing referencing, because there is no single textbook for this program, and you have to do your own research. So this is what makes it more challenging for international students. Finally, it depends on your capacity. Now, for example, some students find it too much of a challenge when they have to go into a certain depth in a subject. They prefer something that's straightforward. Some people like open questions where you can have more than one answer, and they would like to discuss and compare various scenarios or certain benefits and drawbacks and things like this. If you enjoy going into the depth of a subject, computer science is good for you. In terms of the exam itself, you have 3 written papers and 1 practical module. As for the IT subject, you have 2 written papers and 2 practical modules. Finally, when it comes to making your choice, it's ultimately your decision. You know your strengths, you know what you like and what you don't like. You have some idea of the direction you want to go in, so it's your choice. But my personal observation is that international students, usually from Asian countries, who are not exposed to too many business environments or industrial work, they find computer science easier than IT. So when it comes to delivering the program, when it comes to teaching the course, I find it easier to teach computer science to international students than teaching them IT. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to clarify by using the comments in this video. And I'd also appreciate your support in terms of subscription as well as a like for this video if you found it useful.